Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And how about infinite abundance, our God-given birthright, which is actually being made easier in these current energies and these very new energies as we are witnessing arrive on Earth, not only on Gaia herself, but in our physical bodies. So we're going to talk today about how we access your frequency, our own personal frequency of universal abundance. This has us tapping into higher dimensions where we can access keys and codes for not only abundance, but so much more. My guest today is Gabrielle Spencer, and she is a master facilitator of human evolution, and she's an intuitive, multidimensional energy healer and abundance activator. She has merged with her light body, and she uses multi-dimensional energies to assist all of us to raise our frequencies and clear out the old, denser, lower frequencies from our lives and our bodies. Let's welcome Gabrielle Spencer to Quantum Conversations. Hi, Gabrielle. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, Lauren. I appreciate it, and I'm super excited to feel the energy of everybody on this call. Really high-powered, good stuff.
We are ready for that. We are so ready to move forward with new things, new goals. We're all feeling these beautiful surges of energies that come in the form of new ideas, solutions, new creations, and yet some are still feeling blockages that keep us from that. So we're going to talk about this, and we're going to experience a session with you that really helps us shift into higher frequencies. First, I want to talk about your personal experience. When we're talking about the light body, this is an energetic body, and it is on the path of ascension. Share with us your story of merging with your light body. When was that, and what happened?
All right. The light body is, as you say, it's an energetic level. So like we all talk about how we're moving to a fifth dimensional frequency, right? Well, the light body is out of dimension. It's really where you are able to access universal library, but on that highest of levels. So instead of counting it as a dimension, it's just in the void. And so the light body activation and the merging with it means that when I'm in that frequency, I am able to access the void and get information and assistance for whatever the person needs and is able to handle. And that's another, we'll talk about that too, because it's important. So when you merge, I want everybody to imagine when you've seen movies or maybe have had even your own life or death situation where you've seen yourself above your body, right? So we've seen movies anyway, where they show the person looking at their body from above. That is sort of the view of your light body. It's even weightless, all of that, but you're still able to function in this conscious place, but with that higher understanding. So that's the easiest way for me to explain what it's like in how it functions with you as a human, because we are still here, as I was saying to you earlier, Lauren. we still have to be human, and we still have to walk this plane. We still have to function in it. We have to flourish in it. We have to reclaim our mastery in who we are in this dimension. And we do that sort of by walking the line, because we really don't stay in a third dimensional frequency. Third dimensional frequency is survival frequency. It is basic programming frequency, heart, body, and spirit frequency, right? It's not that higher level of frequency that allows you to have that full merging with the cosmic mind, the cosmic heart, and the cosmic spirit, which is the light body evolution. That is how you merge. You have merged that lower, you've converted it to that higher, and then you're accessing the void. So we're releasing those base fears, which, you know, are sadness and grief and guilt and anger, all of those things, and we're moving those out and healing them on every layer of your being. So that would be your heart, your spirit, and your mind, just for that basic triangle. Of course, it's deeper than that, but that's the most important triangle to make it whole and in alignment and balanced, so that then you're able to flip it to the higher frequency, as I said, and then you're able to merge with your light body. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Mm-hmm.
fun and cool.
Well, fun and cool, and it's about time. And we were saying that the energies these days are really pushing us to make a choice between the frequencies that we operate at. Can you share a little bit more on this with the, it's almost like this choice point, I've heard it called, but it's really up to us to be responsible for these frequencies that we hold and allow in.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Right. And so I always use Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, because most everyone is familiar and it's easy to look up. Okay, so the base frequency that we all come in with is the 0 to 200 frequency, which, as I mentioned, is that survival-based programming. The hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, fits that 0 to 200. Okay, so you have your food, shelter, you know, your basic love and companionship, and we're operating truly in that place of being unfulfilled, and where we're always searching for something, and we don't really know what, we just know it's something, right? And that's what gets many of us moving, because we realize there has to be more than this guilt, sadness, unhappiness, you know, malcontent, because, you know, we're doing everything society has told us, and yet we're still missing something on the inside, right? We're still empty, or we still feel alone, we still feel, you know, abandoned, or that, you know, everything can come falling down in just one swoop, right? So that's that lower vibrational frequency. And so when we do the work to heal our hearts on every multidimensional layer, and your spirit and your mind, you do that by healing those lower vibrations, and that's the outcome. So what happens for us, and certainly at this time, as you were just talking about, this point in time, what is happening is there's no middle anymore, or that middle is disintegrating. So where you could just sort of be middle of the road, I'm not bad, I'm not super great, I'm not super holy or balanced or whatever, but, you know, I'm holding it, right? I'm in the middle, and I'm doing my everyday thing, and I'm doing some of my spiritual work on the side, I'm doing some healing, I'm doing some of my life purpose, you know, whatever that is, that little sum that you're doing extra. So for a long time, we've been in the middle. But where we are now energetically is that that middle is disappearing. And think of it like an hourglass, right? You have two large ends and that really tiny middle piece. Well, that's what's going to happen to that middle. It's going to go to that teeny tiny spot, and the other two sides are going to be where everybody is standing. So you're going to either be standing in that third dimensional lower frequencies of fear, and you're going to get trapped there, because remember, I just said that hourglass It's a very small opening, right? And that's what will happen. Right now, we have a huge opening for all of us to pass through. And the energies, oh, I'm getting chills. The energies are amazing to help us make this leap. We were speaking earlier about, 20 years ago where we were energetically and what was available. And at that time, we had that small opening like in that hourglass. There weren't a whole lot of people moving over to this higher energetic at that time. I mean, you probably had to be a monk and be meditating for 20 plus hours a day, right? Because that's the kind of determination and focus it was taking to clear out all those lower bodies so that you could then move to that higher frequency. But right now, in this time, it's completely reversed. We have a huge opening, and we can help people move a lot faster and choose that higher frequency side. And we definitely want to do it. I don't know when it's going to close. I just know that it's open, and that's all that we care about, right? This is where you say, don't hesitate and wait to the last minute. Take it and do the work you need to do so that you're basically on the higher vibrational frequency side, which is, I know everybody who's on this call, that's where we all want to be. We want to be in that fifth dimensional and higher frequency so that we're operating with universal energy versus that lower, darker, heavier energy. So that's where we are. And you call it a choice point. I just see it as, here's our opening, people. Run, 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 run.
Run, 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 and get out of that survival frequency, really to recognize it. This comes up in a variety of ways, and it's been interesting because it's like we can see more of how this frequency comes up. For example, the triggers, I know people have cleared so much, and I've heard from people out in the field and listeners of this show that nothing triggers them anymore. But for the majority of us, we still get triggered. But it seems as if we get triggered, that really is, gosh, I want to say opening for us to go deeper into what it is that triggered us so we can really clear it out and be in this higher vibrational frequency. So let's talk about that with the frequency, getting out of, right, so here's this opening and we want to run. What can we do then to instantly shift? What do you help people shift into? How do you have them shift?
We work on the multidimensional layers because I explain it to people like this. Imagine every lifetime that has ever been experienced by you, and most of us did not start out as human beings. We are other things, way older than human and being on this planet. So imagine that every lifetime you carry with you the equivalent layer like a piece of paper, so very thin. So every lifetime you carry that with you energetically. So let's say in a lifetime you had a separation event. Something happened that caused you to close down your heart a little bit. And so it could be anything. It can be betrayal. It can be heartbreak. It can be loss of a loved one, loss of a job. Who knows what it is, right? But we have many things that damage our hearts in our current life. So we can imagine what a separation event would be. Something big and traumatic, and you could have caused it or it could have been done to you. And so every time that we have an event like this, it creates a tear or a rip or I think of it sometimes, like imagine wadding up a piece of paper. Well, then it just gets covered over the next lifetime and the next lifetime by whatever happened in that lifetime. And so before you know it, you have many layers where there have been traumas that have happened, and those are the triggers that happen in your current life, because you are reminded in your current life of the things you need to heal. And as you mentioned, that is the trigger. That's your event. You don't know why you react so strongly sometimes to some things that really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, the reason is because you have layers of it on the multidimensional energetic layers versus just what we think we're dealing with in this lifetime. My clients, I tell them often that even if they come to me thinking that they're dealing with a current issue and, you know, this happened and I need your help dealing with it, well, sure, it's being triggered for you in this lifetime to remind you that you have something deeper that needs to be, and we're generally always starting somewhere in some other layer to help them release it in their current life. And so when people are still not making progress, like let's say they're still not having abundance, they're still not able to produce not just money, but love or health or opportunities or people coming into their life that uplift them and the situation around them is, you know, conducive to happiness and being in this higher vibration. Because let's be real first, if you have people all around you where your energy is not able to bolster them, their energy is going to bring you down, right? So we all know that that takes a lot of energy if you're having to bolster everybody around you and they're eating up your light. That's a really tough way to go through your day. So for all of us, when we heal and we begin with the heart, because the heart, I see it, the high heart is your portal of light. That is what you are. That's like your super connection to that higher vibrational light body, to the void, to the cosmic heart, to the cosmic mind, to the cosmic spirit. That's your portal. That's what we need to open. And it opens when we clean out, clear up, and provide the higher vibrational lessons that you need to learn in order to, in many cases, make amends for whatever happened. You know, I've had people, it's kind of interesting to get into people's multidimensional lives. You know, we've been amazing old souls, and we've gotten ourselves into quite some scrapes. And it's, I know, I laugh because if people could see what we see, you know, it's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. I never knew that that was out there. And I've had people say, you should write a book. I'm like, you know, I don't even know how I would write this stuff down because it's pretty sci-fi, right? It's pretty insane. But the truth is that when we do clear out these larger issues and the reason that we're here, which is to heal these karmic events and to move on, learn the higher lessons, and to regain our mastery, because we've all been masters. There's not a single person listening to this who's not been a master. The problem is that you've also accrued some karma and some separation events and some reasons that your abilities were shut off or taken away, or both, right? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. There's never one. That's the main point here. But the point is we don't care. We just want it gone, right? That's the only point. We just want it out of here. And so when we begin with the multidimensional healing of the heart, that changes your frequency amazingly and instantly, because that's where you start to bring in that really potent cosmic universal energy versus I'm thinking about it and therefore now I'm channeling it. It just is. And that's the conversion we're all looking for.
Every one of us is looking for that. Yes. It's amazing that there's so many layers. And so at this time, you know, we're able to listen to activations and clearings, and that actually could happen on a quantum level, meaning that it's outside of time and space, and we necessarily don't need to know exactly what it was. So you've got activations for us. You're going to do something for the group on a group level, and that works because it is a multidimensional layer, and it doesn't have to be specific. Can you explain a little bit of the dynamics of what happens on the group level?
Even on a group level, we're still working individually. This is the really interesting part, because in the activation, we still actually work with the person's higher self. The higher self and your soul, they're the ones who know what you need as an individual. And so when we're doing the activation, we call your higher self, and I ask everyone to give permission to their higher self to work with the higher vibrational beings that are working with me in this group. And that's what facilitates what you need to heal, to release, and to move through. And so while, like we say, okay, so we're going to ask for specific things, and we're connecting, but really we're opening it up so that each person is given what they need and where they are, because there's a reason that sometimes people will listen to a healer and go, well, I didn't feel anything. Well, that can happen anyway in healing. You're not going to always have a reaction, and you might not always feel something, but that doesn't mean you didn't receive healing. The thing is that your higher self knows how to start digging it out. Like what I have found is that when I work with clients and they tell me the story, okay, let's just start here because it's easier to understand. So they start telling me the story of what's happening and what they need my help with. We can talk about it consciously and with our minds and our emotions and interpret this, that, and the other. But I will say this, every time I go to work with their higher self and the higher vibrational beings, never do we work on the problem that they thought we were going to address or the way we were going to address it. The higher self and your beings, they bring it around, like we'll get there, but that may not actually be the issue. That's the symptom. That's not the root of the problem. Your higher self and soul, they know what the root of the problem is. They know what created the symptom you're experiencing in your now moment. And so we may think we understand and we know what we should be digging, but the truth is, it's better left to the pros. They know. And I have, I think to myself, and I tell everybody, look, I'm a mind person. I come from a financial banking mortgage background. I get money. I understand, math. This is my thinking. And my big reveal for myself was giving up that mind control of needing to figure out every little piece that I have to do in order to get where I think I'm going, and then be completely disappointed because doors are shut, windows are shut, everything I worked for fell apart. I got only so far, and then boom, nothing. And everybody can relate, because in this society and the way this 3D programming works, the power of the mind is glorified, and we believe in logic, and I am a believer in logic. But what I have found is that actually, as I have evolved, it is so freeing not to have to be in control. It's like amazing, but at the same token, I haven't given up my free will. It's actually now more in alignment with the divine destiny free will that is available to me once you raise your vibration. So we go that lower survival frequency, that less than 200, you are stuck in a predestined destiny. You are. There are certain things you're going to have to learn in that space, because you still have to free yourself from it, okay? But once you come out of that and you start moving into that higher frequencies, you start to have so many more opportunities. I tell everybody, okay, think of it like this. In those lower frequencies, you have two choices, generally, rock and hard place, right? Then we spend all of our time beating ourselves up because, oh my God, I obviously chose the wrong one because this went really badly, right? And I tell my people, No, you didn't choose badly. Those were your only choices. You know, do nothing or choose A or B. That's 3 choices, right? And that's because that's what the energy is providing, because that's where you are energetically. And I call this is how you determine if you're in a survival-driven life, or when it becomes where it's open and you suddenly have many opportunities, many people, many things coming to you, and in fact, your biggest problem is choosing the best opportunity. And it's a totally different energetic. And when you feel that change, that's when you're in the purpose-driven frequency, which is where we're all talking about being, that we want to be in that purpose-driven life, because you are here to reclaim your mastery, reclaim your gifts, reclaim who you really are, and that's how you do it. You move into that higher frequency, and so you then have access to an unlimited divine destiny. Does that ring for you? You feel it?
Absolutely, we can totally feel this, and it's a shift on everything. And when you speak about moving out of the survival frequency, the lower frequency, moving to the higher frequency, getting rid of the mind control that you have to figure it out. And you said it's freeing not to be in control. For those who are still in the mind, that would be frightening to think that
Correct.
we don't have to be in control. So making that shift then, before we get to some activations for the group, share with us a little bit about what that is like then to be manifesting from these higher frequencies. It's totally heart-driven. Again, you mentioned the heart portal, the portal of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not doing things for the money, but rather that purpose-driven experience. We know deep inside what we shall be doing, and when we follow that, we're provided for. That's still kind of scary for some who are not used to that.
Well,
Any advice?
I totally agree. As I said, I had to get this whole mind thing. And I spent much of my time with the I'm doing this and I'm trying that. And that's when you know you're in the mind, when we're doing and trying. Okay, so I agree, and I tell everybody the mind, and this is what I actually have real issues with everybody who talks about mindset reprogramming, because in my understanding of it, you cannot reprogram the mind if you're at a survival frequency, because that is the programming of the mind.
Yes.
Okay? That's what it comes in with. The programming of survival is that your mind, that hind mind, is in control to keep you alive, to keep you breathing, to keep you, you know what I'm saying? It's like that is the lower frequency. But by starting with healing those multidimensional layers of your heart, and then healing the multidimensional layers of your spirit, then you move to the mind, the subconscious and conscious, and then the higher mind. You move into the higher mind, and you make that triangle of the subconscious, conscious with the higher mind. That's when you bring all 3 together into the larger triangle. So if people are familiar with the Sri Yantra, sacred geometry, actually, we are the embodiment, as everybody knows, of Metatron's cube. Okay, we are a part of that. Part of that is the Sri Yantra. So in the first part of my program, it's all about bringing every base programming triangle that makes you who you are from that survival frequency, moving it into the higher frequency of that sacred Sri Yantra geometry, because all of those triangles, I never understood them. I always thought it was beautiful artwork. And when I was given this program, because it was channeled, I realized, holy cow, we are all meant to put all those triangles together, because that's in balance. And most of us come in, let's say, with broken triangles, right? We are no longer whole and part of that perfect sacred geometry anymore. And so we are bringing them together. And so when this happens with the heart, spirit, and the mind in that order, the mind is okay with being balanced with the other three. That's how you make them equal. You don't give up your mind. I have not given up my logic, but what is cooler than my logic is to watch how the other side brings it all together, and I didn't even have to work for it. It's amazing. I think, I say to people, this is the way to live life, where you're open to receiving, you're going to do this, or this is the right thing to move toward, or call this person. It's not because my mind is thinking about it. It's because you're in tune with that universal energy, which is guiding you. And it's not that we don't take action. It's not that your mind isn't busy doing what it still needs to do, because we're still here in the human form. We still do need to survive and move in this level, but not with that lower frequency. That's when it's only the mind, and you're driving yourself crazy. You're losing sleep. You're exhausted. You have that inner overwhelm. You have the stress and just the despair that you're not getting anywhere. I'm working so hard. I'm trying to make this work. Well, again, we just use try. So that's your key words for everybody. It's try and doing. That's where we're in trouble, okay? We don't want to try. We just want to be able to receive and be in the flow of universal energy, because it is what arranges it. And so you actually don't give up control. It's just you're part of the whole, and it isn't scary anymore. And so for me, as I said, coming from the mind, the total mind, people who know my backstory, they know that for me, I spent my life planning and plotting and making sure I was setting everything up so I could live the kind of life that I wanted to live. And every time I got it set up so that I was abundant and I had money and I had the love of my life and all of that, and it still fell apart. And the reason was because I was still always, using all my fingers to plug all the holes and hold everything up, and to be using my mind to figure out what am I supposed to do next to make this keep working. And that's the change, is that when you get everything in alignment, you're not having to do that anymore. And that's where the peace is, and that's where the abundance is, because then it is true. Things do come to you. I think it was now about 2 weeks ago, I looked at my calendar and I said, oh my goodness, I need more speaking engagements. I've totally let that fall apart. I haven't been paying attention, whatever. And I said it, and this is not a joke. Within like 3 hours, I got an email, and then within 24 hours, I had 3 speaking engagements, and then I was overwhelmed with, oh my God, now I have to respond to all of them, right? I have to send my information, and this is the point, is that, oh my goodness, as soon as it's put out there, it's provided, and that's the difference. I didn't go searching or anything. This is the point, right? So that's what we all want. Everybody talks about it. It's not magic. You have to actually clear out these lower vibrational frequencies, and then when you're in that energetic, that higher energetic, it does work by itself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I know I can hear everyone saying, okay, show us how we get there. How do we get into the alignment? And before we have you do a process for us, I just want to share that, yeah, that's important about the universal energy guiding us, and how the mind really does get in the way. Personally, myself, earlier this year, I mean, we've heard that these energies are like, move forward, absolutely go forward. We're being inspired with ideas. Everyone's getting ideas. Go forward, take action on them, be in the flow, try not to do, don't try, but just listen to this internal guidance. And personally, there was something where I was given the guidance, but I was hesitant. My mind was coming in, and it was actually a negative aspect of my ego, a sabotaging aspect of my ego. that I almost like gave up and didn't do it. But I recognized that that was something. That was an old program, very old program. And once I surrendered to it, that was a key word. It was a surrender. And then I saw the vision of what it was I was doing, and it was not for me personally, but it was for the greater good. It was for New Earth. It's for this new world that we're all creating and assisting others to step up and into. So I just wanted to share that because it is interesting how the mind sabotages, these woundings, sabotage. So for me personally, because this is divine intelligence that we're aligning with in our higher self, it knows exactly where to go and exactly what to dissolve. And that really is what the definition of alignment means. Would you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. And for the mind people, I know for myself, I had real issues with the word surrender. And I think that's got to do with my own backstory, right? And so
the cop-out.
me,
Some people call it the cop-out.
Well, I mean, with your mind, it just depends for each person. For me, I am good with the word allow. And because, especially for mind people, you know, it makes you feel like, you know, you've given permission, or, you know, that you're in alignment with it. Okay, I'm allowing to go there. And, you know, I always tell people, well, even when I was literally pushed to having to reclaim my healing abilities, I allowed it, and I even put parameters on it then, saying, okay, yeah, I'll do it for 6 months. If it doesn't work out, I'm back to corporate because I just want to be a regular, normal person. And, you know, of course, that meant more difficult times because I really wouldn't allow. I really kept a lot of boundaries on what I was willing to do. And it was only through my own healing that finally I realized, you know, what the heck. And now I can laugh at myself and go, geez, yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to get to the spot you are now. What the heck were you thinking? Yeah, I can see how peace and allowing, you know, universal abundance to come in, and, you know, you're more fulfilled. I can see why you would not want that. You know what I'm saying? It's like now when you look back, you go, really? What was I afraid of? And that's what everybody here will understand, and you'll have to take our word for it right now, that truly you will get to that place where you go, really? Why was I resisting this? This is what I said I wanted. And it's the mind that does resist, exactly as you say, which is why we don't work with the mind until after the heart and the spirit are realigned and strong enough. I always think of it like this, as wrestling back the power from the mind. And it's at that place that then you're able to reprogram the mind and shift it to the higher mind, your higher mind, versus your lower human base survival programming mind. And so it works when you do it that way, and you don't have the slip and slide like we do doing other things when we're trying to start with the mind, because as you have already mentioned, the mind will not give up its power and its control and its default programming, which is to keep you alive.
Yes, okay. Well, now would be a beautiful time to work on healing those multidimensional layers of the heart, the spirit, and the mind.
All right, then. Everybody, it would be great if you get to a place where you can lay down or sit down with your eyes closed. And I ask that with your eyes closed, you roll your eyes gently up toward your eyebrows, allowing your eyelids to flutter. This helps to put you into a theta brainwave state, which makes it easier for you to receive the healing. I would love it if you take a deep breath, allowing your physical body to relax. Allow your mind to choose a chant, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om, or something similar, to give your mind something to do and to help you to raise your vibration. And take another deep breath. Give permission to your higher self to assist in this healing for you, for your highest and best good. And give permission to the higher vibrational being to assist you for your highest and best good, to receive the highest energetic healing possible, to heal all layers of yourself throughout all time, all dimensions, without boundary or limit, and without time. And with your third deep breath, see all that no longer serves you is being released to the golden light of the great central sun. See it float high, up and away. Beautiful light is filling your physical body, your spiritual body, your energetic bodies, and the activations that you need for your human DNA to be sequenced and resequenced to receive these higher vibrational activations, keys and codes to be provided to you. Allow the resequencing and activation of your higher light body DNA to be activated, for you to integrate and stabilize these higher vibrational activations within all of your multidimensional bodies with ease, peace, love, and joy. And for each person's high heart to receive the healing that it needs, to be fully opened, and for this gold and white light from the great central sun to pour through every layer of your being to provide the higher vibrational healing needed, the keys and codes to activate it, for you to be a channel of higher frequency light, and for this light to continuously pour through you, around you, and into your environment to positively influence, affect, and nourish yourself and all those you come in contact with. This is a really great group of higher vibrational beings, and you have been gifted with activations that have never been shared before with a group. And I thank you for allowing me to be part of that channel for you today. It's really beautiful. And with that, we are done. So be it, so it is, so mote it be.
So it is. I am feeling all sparkly with that, absolutely sparkly. And such a lightness of the heart, a lightness of the mind. It's like the mind is still present, but the worry is gone. And that is a shift that I hope everyone is accessing and feeling. It is quite beautiful.
It is actually really amazing, and absolutely saw those sparkles too. So amazing. Oh, yes, it's just that golden light and just everything being released like little sparkles just rising. It's amazing to me how energy looks and feels, and it's never the same, but always inspiring. Just I'm always in awe of how the higher vibrational beings work, the multidimensional beings who are here to assist us. It is such a gift and a blessing, because that is where we are able to take advantage of what's being given, because in our human form, we're dense, and this is a dense place. So we have to go to that higher vibrational, as we talked about with the light body, and to the void, to really receive the vibrations that are high enough to release all that multidimensional gunk that we've been carrying around. So another reason for why we're doing it this way, because if we were to do it only with our thoughts, that's when you're getting nowhere, because it's not a high enough vibration to go to the depth and breadth that is needed to heal all that you've been carrying with you. So hopefully everybody felt it and can understand now the words in even a higher vibrational way. That's probably one of my biggest ahas always, is the same word that I've been using all along, but suddenly it has a greater meaning, and you're like, wow, I had no idea. And that's part of the discovery part, is when you realize something you thought you understood, but there's a whole another level of meaning. And then when you raise your vibration higher, you then get yet another deeper meaning, and it just doesn't end, and it's just awesome. So I hope that everybody can tap into that and feel it.
Yes, and it's very inspirational, because I feel so light right now, and I know I'm going to sleep really good. Sometimes when, my mind is still there at front and center, and I wake up in the middle of the night and my mind is just going, and I really use practices like this to really calm down and center. And so these are really powerful tools. And I love how you said to dissolve the multidimensional gunk. So everyone, right, when we do experience these lower frequencies, just to be aware that it's time to utilize these tools and raise our vibration. We have a better understanding truly of what that means and how we are responsible for that, right? And so I think when we were talking earlier too, it's like we have to be responsible for these energies, and we want to boost people up, and sometimes that means not interacting with people who are going to drag us down. We do what we can to stay neutral and hold the space to uplift others, but if we feel that we're being dragged down, we somehow have to manage that. Right? Is it okay then?
Well, the way I tell people to manage it is, yes, of course, some things are so toxic, absolutely. Yeah. But there are situations that, you might not be able to walk away from, like, you have a difficult child. And I have, worked with people that their difficult child might be 30. It's not that they're necessarily young, but, there are young children too that, can be hard to deal with, or you don't really understand them. And the thing that I say to everybody, including myself, as I'm the mother of 3 children, and they're still young, so we're in the teenage years for some of them, so it's really fascinating, because logically, I could logic it to death as to why you would do A, B, or C, or you need to do it this way or that way. And while I still use my mind when needed, I tell everybody that's where you take that high heart light and just beam it to them. Beam it to their hearts, because in the end, that is going to make the fastest difference, and hopefully they will feel that love and want it. And this is the part about how we raise our vibration. It's not to show everybody like, nanny, nanny, boo-boo, I'm higher than you. It's that we are pouring out this light and people are drawn to it. They want to feel that too. And they want to have that energy pouring out from them as well. And of course, if you are drawing the people to you that are eating that energy, okay, so they're not using it to actually to propel themselves higher, right? And that's what you're talking about, Lauren, is that there are those in our lives. And what will happen is your light will generally end up repelling them anyway if they're not able to begin moving with you. There's just a natural separation, as we already talked about earlier. There will be a natural separation because they're not able to handle that light. They don't want it. So
yes, I'm certain we can all look back in our lives and look at situations where we've done that with people. Maybe it's other parents, right, when kids go to school, or friends or coworkers. And when we do shift and beam this higher light, high heart light, and infuse it into the situation, how it naturally dissolves the situation. In my own life, personally, someone moved away. Someone moved away, and it was like, wow, look at that. Or it just works itself out. So that is very inspiring to know that this is the alignment when we can be in alignment with our higher self and these energies. Things do work themselves out for the best.
They do. They absolutely do. And it's just, I tell people, okay, when you're being triggered, as you talked about earlier, there is a lesson for you to resolve. There's something that you need to dissolve within you still. And as we say within you, that means that multidimensional within you. And that's the important part, because some people get caught up in the idea that it's only what's, they can remember or in their human existence, and that's where we were talking earlier. The multidimensional existences are not just this planet Earth or even similar planets. I mean, we've got, endless galaxies. So everybody has to remember, all that we already know, and then probably times a billion of that we don't yet know. And so we're working with the higher energies who do know, and that's what matters. It doesn't, like you said already, we don't have to know. In fact, it's better the less we know, because I always find that when people hear something, then their mind starts to fixate on it, and then you start turning things back, like you said, sabotaging yourself again. But what happens as you do this journey of healing, you're no longer being triggered. Then you are basically the holder of the mirror for others. And what happens is you begin to figure out that it's not a lesson for you, and you're above the body, as I talked about earlier. It's like that light body place where you're there, you're present, you're interacting, but it's not about you. And it's an amazing difference, and I can't explain it other than when you get there, you'll know you're there, because it's phenomenally freeing, where it isn't your thing anymore. That person, it's for them to deal with, and you're just providing them the space in which to deal with it.
Yes. Okay. We get that. Very beautiful. Right. All right. So it's very liberating. It's not about us. It's aligning ourselves with these energies and just letting it move and being inspired. The masters, the great masters of the Far East, the yogis, Jesus, they knew this. They knew this power of the high heart, and they would use that, and they would actually manifest with it. So this is what we are reclaiming, and this is where it goes quantum, because that is a quantum space where it's instantaneous, and it's outside of time and space. It's really beautiful. Well, we have time for a few questions, but before we get there, I want you to share with us, you've got teachings, you've got more teachings on this, more programs that are encoded with frequencies that help shift people into the higher energies, accelerated abundance, and the path to prosperity.
The path to prosperity. Yes. So there are package A and B. So package A is the path to prosperity, and it is what we have been talking about, where you are igniting your heart light to get your life in alignment with abundance energy so that you will love your life and easily open your heart to abundance. So that is work. There's, I believe, 5 audios in there, and they are all to move you into this energy, as we've been talking about, to begin the clearings for the heart, the spirit, and the mind, and moving your energy to that higher frequency so you can be there, not try to hold it, not I'm doing the work. It's you're there. That's the difference, and that's where then you're not always frustrated because things aren't working. Instead, the doors open. I always tell people, I see it like Hansel and Gretel. I don't know why, but I do. And where they leave the crumbs so they can follow them back, except for that the crumbs are in front of them and they're just following the crumbs. It's like you've already left your crumbs. You just don't know how to find them because they're hidden from you because you're at a lower frequency. But as you begin raising your frequency, it's easy to see them. That's when I see this vision goes from Hansel and Gretel to Michael Jackson and his Billie Jean video of back in the 80s where he's stepping on the cement and it's lighting up like every second or third step of his. And that's how your life becomes. Like the next step just lights up for you and you're like, oh, that's where I'm going. And then, oh, that's where I'm going. And it just takes on that freedom of flow, and it's magical. That's the magic everybody keeps talking about, but in the lower frequency you think there must be some, abracadabra. But then in package B, it's not that it is abracadabra, it's that there is a method, and the package B is the accelerated abundance formula. Because what I found in doing this work is that we are lacking teaching in how to interact with universal energy, how to put out a request, how to get what it is that you're needing, okay? And so, so that's what caused me to create package A and package B, is that it's great to be clear and you've dissolved all this stuff, but then it sort of left people with, well, I asked for it. I don't know why it's not happening. And it happened with one of my clients, and I said to her, well, email me what you're asking for. And as soon as she emailed it to me, I was like, oh, now I see the problem. And that's how this program got created, because we don't have that teaching here for how to access universal energy and to access it in a way that provides you what you need, and especially if you're not at the highest frequency yet. There are tools and activations and things that you can use to help you boost your energy. And I've sort of alluded to this in my own earlier as we've talked, you have a base frequency, and we're all moving that base frequency. Now, obviously, when I'm in a situation like where we are now, and I've connected to my team on the other side, and I'm connected to the group, my energy exponentially opens, and I'm operating from the light body frequency now in order to assist everybody. But when I'm running my daily life, there's a base frequency. I can tell you that I'm not always in this state, right? I mean, I still have to function. I have 3 children, I have a husband, I have a life, right? So but it's that base frequency where, you know, you can just be able to put it out there without always needing that extra boost part, okay? But right now, where most everybody is, they need that extra boost, and that's what that accelerated abundance formula is for, is to give you that boost so that you can get it out there with, like, think of it like a rocket ship, right? Without the proper, you know, rocket booster, it's going nowhere. And that's the same idea, is that until you are able to hold that higher frequency to connect with the other side in that way, you're going to need the booster. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. Yeah. 2 options in your special offer to really move the base frequency and give a rocket boost to these energies so that we can sustain that. Awesome. Thank you so much for that beautiful work that you offer. Again, this is your mission, assisting the planet in this way, and it's wonderful. We do thank you again for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so questions. We're going to open up a phone line here, and you can ask a question to Gabrielle. Let's go to, I think it's Tracy in Denver, Colorado. Hi, you're unmuted.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi. I guess my question would be today is where, you know, I feel like I'm moving forward, but what would you say is still, I still feel blocked, like stuck a little in moving towards higher vibration and all the work I've been doing. What do you see as around that? Or what area would you feel like I could use some work in as far as the heart is concerned?
All right. A few things, but if you will do me a favor and just close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to heal a hole in your heart. There's a layer with a nice dime-sized hole in it. That's what I see straight out is what they're showing me. So we're going to do the work to heal that and release that for you, okay?
Okay.
And for everyone in the group, you also may close your eyes, and we will ask your higher self to heal whatever needs healing for you specifically in your heart so that you can more fully function. All right, here we go. Okay, thank you. Take a deep breath, everyone. How do you feel, Tracy?
I feel lighter.
Mm-hmm. You sure do.
Is that from a long time? Like I've been carrying that with me?
That was several layers deep, so
Layers.
Think of it like imagine somebody taking a pistol and just shooting you through the heart. So the black hole went straight through for quite some time. So you've been carrying it around and it keeps getting re-injured every lifetime. that would be what that would tell me. So you keep re-experiencing that piercing of the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So now,
right.
though, it's whole and complete, and for everybody on the call, I asked for the healing of every layer of your heart throughout the multidimension, for rifts and tears and holes and various other things that happen. So I'm glad that you felt that, Tracy. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Tracy.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I did feel that as well, and I hope others did. It is such a soft, lightning, enlightening, let's say, vibration. It's very fine, and it's beautiful.
It's very gentle.
Very
But
gentle.
it's so powerful. It's like, I think of it like laser light. You know, like when you use a laser for surgery, and then you know how they can do it now. And psychic surgery, it's really psychic surgery. If you've ever experienced it, you just did. It's amazing. It's just amazing how quick it works.
And then it's healed permanently. We no longer need to go back into that wounding. Is there any residue we could experience? No.
There's no residue. No, it's the only thing that will sometimes is that for some people they may feel tired, some people feel invigorated, and it's never the same twice. Everybody will have a different reaction. It's just depending on them. I mean, I know that everybody here, they've had activations and such where, you know, they feel amazing, and then others where they're like, I didn't really feel anything, and then there's others where they're like, I'm exhausted, I'm wiped out. So it just depends on how the physical body integrates it and stabilizes it. But on an energetic level, it's just done.
Hallelujah. It is just done.
That's right.
Okay, so happy integrating. Beautiful.
That's right.
Okay, let's go to Hollywood, Florida. I think it's Jean Louise. You're unmuted. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call, and Gabrielle, thank you. I would like to know what my presence want me to know, and what it is that my presence wants me to receive healing on.
Okay, we're going to work on your third chakra, because as soon as you started to speak, I actually am getting the empathic reaction to you. So I need to help you to feel, wow, right? It's working as we're talking, so it's fine. More secure and stable within yourself and within your environment. It's allowing the fear and heavy sadness to be released. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So if you will just close your eyes, and again, everyone who wants to take part, do the same, because first, second, and third chakras are definitely all about security and believing and knowing that the universe has your back and is there for you, and that you are aligned with it. You know, many people, that's one of the hardest things to believe, is that really universal energy is always there for you, not just at special times, or, you know, at this time but not another time, etc. And that's a big thing for people to really know, and especially if those lower chakras, and that those memories are still there. It's more than chakras. It's the memories of this heaviness. Now, I've already felt it move out. Have you felt it move out? Take a deep breath.
I felt some energy in my hand and in other parts of my body.
Good. That's perfectly fine. it all gets, that's a whole nother discussion. But in healing, and especially in how every person files things within themselves and throughout all your levels and layers, I tell everyone it never gets filed logically, and it's never under just one heading. So feeling that you're not stable and secure, that can be many things, and it can be stored in many places. And part of the healing is to help all of it to go, not just the one area that you think you're working on. Does that make sense?
Yes. So it was about security and being stable.
It's about many lifetimes where you have not felt secure and stable, but more in the fear energetic of survival and of being loved and being able to honor just everything, not just yourself. It's like sort of where you don't really feel a part of anything. So you're always sort of like, I see you stepped back like a few paces, like all these things are going on around you, but you don't actually feel part of it. I don't know how better to explain it, but it's not things that you think to yourself, that should really be filling me with joy, but it's something's off. Does that resonate for you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So part of that is that you're not, that energy kept you apart, kept you from being able to feel accepted and embraced by your environment and your surroundings, and to release that heaviness and sadness that brought you. So again, it's not one thing. It's, you know, over time and over many incarnations, deep energy that just kept getting repeated and repeated. So for now, I mean, I feel it's completely gone, where initially it made me have like a vomit reflex, where it's just like, oh, that's heavy. So now that's all gone, and so it'll continue to release, because the energy will continue to release even though we're done talking. It will continue to work as much as it can, and then there will be, you know, other things that will come up that you will be able to begin working on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Many blessings, sweetie.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That's interesting how you sense into someone's field, and you can, you know, you feel that in your physical body. Is that the case with everyone? You're just, it's
no,
like you're...
thankfully.
Yeah, right?
Well, I mean, right. No, I mean, every time it's different. You know, fortunately, my gifts are whatever needs to be, it seems. And so for some people, it presents like that, like an empath would. And you would get that physical reaction along with pictures and understanding. And then some people, it's, you know, I'm just shown what it is. Others, I hear what it is. It just depends. There's not any one way. It just, however that person's higher self presents the information to me.
Yes. And that's being very attuned to your light body and receiving the information that is multidimensional. Very cool. It's just fun to see you do that in action. Okay, so we have time for one more, and this time we are going to Nova Scotia. Velma.
Awesome.
Hi, Velma.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi.
Hi. I have an issue that I've had for I don't know how long, but I know it's a deep-seated issue about not being enough. And sometimes I have issues with my bowels, stomach, and particularly in around the solar plex area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on that issue, but I know it's a fear-based issue, and I don't know what else to say.
I don't need you to say anything, actually. But I always find it enlightening to hear the voice, too, of the person. And for you, I don't know why, but they're giving me this picture of a jack-in-the-box. And my understanding of it is like you have this amazing personality. It's like the kind of person that would jump around the corner and boo to somebody just for the giggle. It's like that's how your energy presents, and it's really awesome, except for you're saying, but that's not me anymore. And it's unfortunate in many ways because sometimes it comes out, but you don't recognize that person anymore. Is that true?
Sometimes I do, and then other times it's just...
Right?
Yeah.
But they're saying that is you. That's your higher frequency. That's the person, like, that you've shut her away. And now I'm going to cry. So I just want you to take a deep breath, because that energy, when you tap back into her, that is, it was never a cover, like a cover personality. That is you. It just, you forgot, and you've sort of separated from her. And I know it sounds almost like a dual personality, but the things that have happened throughout time and this life too has caused her to sort of go in the closet, right? She's sort of not really used very often and not really honored either. And this is where they want you to go, is to reclaim her. Does that make sense?
Yes. Not that I always had this fear of, I'd say, oh, I'm a little bit silly today or whatever, right?
No, it's not fear. It's that she's not safe. It's not getting you where you need to go. It's not helping you deal with life, that aspect of yourself. But it's that aspect of yourself that will help you reclaim who you are, not this other aspect, right? So instead of thinking about it like the mind part of, I know there's a problem in there and I can't figure it out, it's almost like laughter is your cure. Allowing that lighter energy to come in and to heal that aspect of you that shut her out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. So just let's close your eyes for me. Just take a deep breath. And we're going to ask for your higher self and the higher vibrational beings to come in and to provide your inner child with the healing that she needs throughout all the dimensions, and for everyone listening to receive this healing, these higher vibrational healings for your inner child throughout all dimensions without time or space limitation, to provide the light from the great central sun, the activations needed for your inner child to come out of hiding and to be one with you. And that is it. It is done.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're
I feel like
welcome.
laughing.
See? I told you. I'm so glad.
Thank you, Lauren.
That's your light, my dear. That's what you're sharing with the world.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Velma. And you laughed when we unmuted you, so keep laughing, girlfriend. And everyone keep the joy as well. This has been a beautiful, high-vibe conversation with Gabrielle Spencer. Gabrielle, as we close our circle tonight, I just want to give you a moment to really offer some closing words of encouragement and inspiration for everyone.
Thank you for that. My inspiration for everybody is the same inspiration I get every day. It's the encouragement to keep going. We are moving together, and the more that we gather like this, and in the etheric, the greater progress we make as a group and singly, just as in this healing. Although it seemed that we were only working on one person, we were not working on one person. We're working on all of us, on every layer of our being. So keep going. Hold the light and be blessed and abundant. That's
Beautiful. And the universe has our back.
That's right.
And we are creating new earth. So be bold, be courageous, and align with your higher self. Gabrielle, you have helped us align with those higher frequencies, and we feel shifted, and we have smiles on our faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this quantum conversation. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this program, please share it with your friends and loved ones. And we thank you for shining your magnificent light and adding it to the world. This is when we love ourselves like no one else can. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.